Hi, so happy to be back with you on this America's birthday to discuss a sonnet. This sonnet is from Emma Lazarus, a great American patriot and a Jewish American. And as a Jewish American myself, I am very, very honored to be sharing this poem, The New Colossus, with you tonight and discussing a little bit about what might make it so significant, besides the fact that it is etched at the base of the Statue of Liberty. The New Colossus. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here, at our sea-washed sunset gates, shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows the worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Well now, national poetry, right? Poems that evoke what's most important about a particular country, its origins, its values, so often are not sonnets. The sonnet is an intimate form of address, something between people who know one another already, who've perhaps are neighbors, perhaps are friends, perhaps are lovers. Rare would a sonnet be something that would be spoken from one person on behalf of a whole mass of people. But Emma Lazarus didn't want to write a poem about the birth of some gods or some myth of how one people conquered another to start a new land. Emma Lazarus wanted to write a different poem about what makes America special. And she wanted to make this poem intimate. She wanted to make it feminine. She wanted to make it about the values of people connecting with other people and welcoming them. Not as a lord welcomes vassals, or a rich person welcomes someone with their charity, but as a neighbor welcomes a neighbor. This octave, the first 8 lines, starts with a knot, and we've seen this in so many of the sonnets we've discussed. And a sonnet opens very well when it opens with a rhetorical gesture, with a contradiction, not like the brazen giant of Greek fame. So she's defining what this poem is about and what its central conceit is through pushing against the received tradition, this Greek classical tradition of strength being what would define greatness. And here it's not going to be exactly simple might, although in this octave we do get a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning. Sounds formidable, but her name is Mother of Exiles. So that's going to be a little bit different than the brazen giant of Greek fame, this Colossus figure. This is a Colossus. This new Colossus is one of mild eyes that command air-bridged harbor. The twin cities, I imagine, is Paris and New York that are being brought together forever, since the Statue of Liberty was a gift from the French. After this octave closes with the twin cities being united, which is a great little gesture that this octave manages. It then pivots, as I've so often discussed on this channel, pivot to the eternal. Keep ancient lands your storied pomp. So we don't need all those myths here. So I think most people know the rest of the sestet pretty well. The golden door, that's something I think a little bit interesting, a little bit mysterious about this poem. But I think there's a lot of interesting, subtle, mysterious things about this poem. I think that golden door goes back to, from her beacon hand glows a worldwide welcome. I think it's possibly Tim Berners-Lee, when he called the web, the World Wide Web, was thinking about this poem. I don't know. It speaks to a kind of interconnectedness. I think the golden door also echoes back to the octave sunset gates, right? Sunset, our sea-washed sunset gates. So the sun might not rise in the United States. It might rise east of us, but it sets in the west. So we have this continent, this large continent, broad, welcoming continent, potentially. Well, I don't want to say too much. I think there's David Cross has a very great sketch about this poem in a stand-up routine. I think it's on Netflix, where he talks about all of the politicians who would want to erase this poem and pretend it's not a quintessential cornerstone of what it means to be an American. They would want to take this off the Statue of Liberty. But that can't be done. And even if this poem were erased from the Statue of Liberty, it could never be erased from who we are as a people and what we believe in. Thank you for joining me. Have a happy 4th.